This is Update News, weekly news and information program produced by Communication and Journalism Department students at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for Update News. I'm Jessica Sharpie.
And I'm Chelsea Emery. Coming up on the show, we get a glance at how homeless shelters are coping as winter approaches.
And we have more on a shooting that took place at a Milwaukee area children's hospital.
Plus, we find out what's next for Wisconsin legislation. But first, a Menominee man faces charges related to child prostitution on Monday. 32-year-old Anthony Schofield was arrested last Thursday and was charged Monday with sexual assault of a child under 16, child enticement with sexual contact, and use of a computer to facilitate a child sex crime. Last week, Update News began a two-part series that showed you what human trafficking looks like here in the Chippewa Valley. This week, Update News' Jenna Rowe follows up on that series to see what local legislators are doing about the issue.
If you were surprised to hear that human trafficking is a considerable concern to the Chippewa Valley, you are not alone.
If you would have told me 2 years ago that this was the kind of problem, that this problem was as prevalent as it really is, I wouldn't have believed it.
State Representative Dana Walk says he's recently become aware of human trafficking. He says it has definitely caught his attention.
These are our kids we're talking about here, and we've got to do the things that are going to be necessary in order to protect them.
Walk says there are bills in the works, one of which is referred to as the expungement bill, which he has co-signed. This bill would eliminate any accusations of prostitution from the records of minors who are victims of trafficking. But Fierce Freedom Director of Development Jody Emerson says,
"That's wonderful, but I don't think it goes far enough. I think we need to expunge the records of anybody who's a victim of human trafficking. If you're busted for prostitution and you're 25 years old, but you had somebody that was forcing you to do that, that's something that we shouldn't hold against those people."
Emerson says Wisconsin must also take a look at its neighboring states.
With it, it's like, I just take it, strike out the word Minnesota, put in Wisconsin, and call it good.
Emerson says both Minnesota and Illinois have safe harbor laws in place.
If somebody is a victim of human trafficking, right now they can be arrested for prostitution. And with a safe harbor law, they're not going to be put into the juvenile detention center. They're treated as the victim that they are.
Safe harbor laws can also help victims begin new lives through safe houses. According to Emerson, Wisconsin is about 10 years behind Minnesota and Illinois in human trafficking legislation. Emerson says she is pushing to introduce safe harbor laws to local legislators, including Representative Walks, and she encourages the community to do the same.
When people have their eyes open, when we, lift the lid and shine a light onto the problem of human trafficking, I think it makes it more real. I think people understand it a little bit better and then realize that we do need to get out there with legislation. We do need to protect our children.
For Update News, with photographer Hannah Critchfield, I'm Jenna Rowe.
The expungement bill went to Wisconsin State Senate Monday, but Emerson says it could take months before it is voted on.
Hundreds of people were arrested and hundreds of children freed when Toronto police busted an international child pornography ring. Undercover officers with the Toronto Police Child Exploitation Section made contact with a man online who was shipping pictures and videos around the world. In May of 2011, police carried out a search warrant in Toronto's West End. As Zob Films was shut down, more than 45 terabytes of data was seized. In the last couple of years, the project has nabbed nearly 350 people, including 50 in Ontario, 76 in the United States, and more than 150 around the world. The investigation led police to hundreds of kids who were being abused around the world. Hundreds of kids, police say, who are now safe.
Milwaukee's police chief is defending the actions of two officers in yesterday's shooting at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. Police shot a 22-year-old man twice in the arm after he allegedly fled down a hallway with a semi-automatic pistol in the neonatal wing. Police Chief Edward Flynn said officers didn't have the luxury of waiting until the man left the hospital. The situation required immediate intervention, knowing the suspect had violent intentions and a warrant out for his arrest. No one else was in the hallway at the time, and no officers, hospital employees, or patients were hurt. As winter quickly approaches, a local homeless shelter is dealing with an unpredicted problem. Updates Rachel Minsky has the story.
Temperatures are beginning to drop in the Chippewa Valley. For those living below the poverty line, that could mean spending a cold night outside. The Sojourner House is a homeless shelter located in downtown Eau Claire. It's been open for 2 years, but for the first time ever, Director Dan Robinson says they're struggling to provide a warm place to stay for those who may need it the most.
People are literally coming out of the woodwork and looking for a place to stay.
Robinson says the shelter has space to accommodate 48 people every night, but when those spaces fill up, a handful of homeless have to look elsewhere.
Abandoned cars, abandoned buildings, the stairwell in the parking garage.
He says some even turn to the benches right outside the shelter. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 15% of the population in Eau Claire County lives below the poverty line. Robinson says those struggling financially in rural areas turn to the largest city nearby looking for a job, and in many cases, that's Eau Claire. He says newcomers are robbing bed space from those who routinely rely on the shelter.
That's bumping out some of the chronic homeless people who are still here, been here for a long time, and making it tough, for them.
Robinson says he hopes the community will pitch in to address the need, but so far, the outlook is dim.
We've brought up the idea of some churches opening up their basement to the overflow, but nobody has actually stepped forward to do that.
Rachel Minsky, Update News.
Filipino workers are working tirelessly to repair some of the damage from the recent typhoon. United States Navy aircrafts, the U.S. military, and other international groups are flying in to help Filipinos in their struggle to recover from the massive storm. Debris covers the streets of Guian from the many houses that were destroyed. Some shop owners in Guian are opening up part of their shops as relief centers. They have many different products from first aid to canned goods.
The Toronto City Council voted to strip Mayor Rob Ford of some of his powers yesterday. Ford has consistently rejected calls to stand down, despite admitting last week to smoking crack cocaine in a drunken stupor about a year ago. Ford says he is getting professional help for his drug problem, but he sees no reason to step down from his mayorship. Ford did apologize today for his drug allegations. There will be a Toronto City Council meeting Monday with further discussion on this issue.
Area hunters may be facing hardship when it comes to finding ammunition.
And we have an update on the conditions of Eau Claire County roads.
That's all coming up after the break. Stay with us. You're watching Update News.
With a little over a week until the start of the 2013 Wisconsin gun deer season, hunters may find themselves having a hard time finding ammo. Updates Adam Gansky tells us more.
As ammo shortages continue, hunters and gun enthusiasts alike may find themselves stockpiling on their favorite cartridges. The fear of people's gun rights being taken away is looming from the Obama administration. Gun sales continue to soar, and as they do, people need to collect ammo. Rod and Gun Sports Shop manager Ryan Gonzalez says the shortage is something he has never seen in his 11 years of managing the shop. He says it started with odd cartridges and .22 ammo, but is now having a significant effect on the 2013 gun deer season.
And just in the recent month, just because of, the Wisconsin deer season is just right around the corner, and with factories not making ammo and not keeping up, people are starting to notice that, especially like 243, 270, 308, your common deer cartridges are, nobody has them, and, they're just flying off the shelves when they are available.
Gonzalez says the shortage is causing sports shops to limit how many boxes of ammo their customers can take. He says with people buying ammo at such a high rate, factories cannot keep up. Another speculation for the shortages has started a rumor that the government has been making mass purchases of ammo. Whatever the case may be, hunters like Austin Schaff believe it's a combination of rumors and hoarding.
I think it's when we had all that gun control scare. Everybody kind of just went crazy. Oh, look, ammo, I gotta buy it. They're gonna quit making it. The government's not gonna let me have it.
Gonzalez says he has a phone call about every 15 minutes at the shop with someone looking for ammo. His recommendation for people is to keep trying.
Your recommendation right now is to call around. That's the thing to do. I mean, you gotta, check your bigger stores. You're gonna have to settle for what you can get.
For Update News with photographer Jessica Sharpie, I'm Adam Gansky.
The cold months are coming closer, and that means it is important to winterize your car or truck and make sure it is running smoothly. Updates Kelsey McMahon has more on how to stay safe on the roads.
Temperatures are dropping, winter is right around the corner, and auto repair shops are entering their busy season. The shops are most active at this time mainly due to people not correctly preparing their vehicles for the winter season. The owner of Rick's Service Center, Sean Chang, says to make sure everything is working properly when it comes to your own vehicle. He says batteries not starting and windshield wipers freezing are the biggest problems for cars in the winter months.
Make sure that your windshields are nice and clean and clear before you take off, and make sure you're slowing down, depend on road conditions.
Lieutenant of the Wisconsin State Patrol, Jeffrey Lawrence, says they released safety tips on the Wisconsin government website under State Patrol. He says whether it is fog or heavy snow, there are a few important rules to follow.
Preparation, seat belt, good driving habits, watch your speeds, traveling distances, clear windshields. The ability to see other vehicles is extremely important.
Lorenz says the number one thing out there when it comes to a change in weather is drivers have to change their speeds, as people drive too fast for winter conditions. The State Patrol says that during the cold weather months, all drivers should follow common sense precautions that will protect them and others on the road. For Update News with photographer Chelsea Emery, I'm Kelsey McMahon.
After the break, there is rain in the forecast this weekend.
And we have a heartwarming story about twin sisters who have gone out of their way to support each other.
It's all next. You're watching Update News. Grab your rain boots and umbrella. This weekend will be a wet one. Tonight there's a 20% chance of rain with a low of 38 degrees. Saturday will bring in a high of 50 degrees with a 100% chance of rain. Saturday night will be mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of rain with a low of 46 degrees. Rain is likely again on Sunday with a 70% chance of precipitation. The high on Sunday is 51 degrees. Coming up after the break, both Badger basketball and football are busy Saturday.
Also, the Packers will try to get their first win without Aaron Rodgers Sunday.
Stay with us, you're watching Update News.
Clemson walked away with a win last night after going head-to-head with Georgia Tech. Fast forward to the second quarter, Clemson is up to 6-0 when Clemson's Taj Boyd makes a 41-yard pass to Sammy Watkins for a touchdown, and an extra point good puts them at 13-0. Boyd gets his second touchdown of the night on a 4-yard pass to Mike Williams. It continued to be Clemson's game all night as Boyd finds Sammy Watkins late in the third quarter on the screen pass. Watkins would do the rest as he scampered 44 yards to the house. The final score of the game was 55-31 in Clemson's favor. Boyd would finish the game with 4 touchdowns and 340 yards passing. The Badgers football team will play the Indiana Hoosiers at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison tomorrow. They are 7-2 in their season and second in leaders division. Kickoff is at 11. Men's Badger basketball will play at Green Bay tomorrow at 7 p.m. Women's basketball will take on North Illinois at home at the Kohl Center on Sunday. The game starts at 2 p.m. With Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers still nursing a broken collarbone, they are looking for answers on offense. Last week against the Eagles, Seneca Wallace got hurt in the first quarter where he tore a groin muscle. The Packers would bring in up to Scott Tolzien, but it wouldn't make a difference. The Eagles would handle the Packers 27-13. The Thunder Law of Hamlin Globetrotters sets a new world record, making the longest basketball shot. At the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, from in the stands, Law makes the shot from 109 feet 9 inches away, giving him a new world record. That's all for sports. Stay tuned for more Update News.
That's all for Update News. Tune in next week for news, weather, and sports.
With Jessica Sharpie and Hannah Critchfield, I'm Chelsea Emery. Have a great night.
You have been watching Update News, a weekly news and information production of Communication and Journalism Department students at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire.